Welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. I'm Carolyn Shearlock, here with tips, reviews, and how-tos for your cruising adventure. This episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Shambhala Sailing Adventures, offering customized learning charters in the Exumas, Bahamas. Sailor like your owner with coaching from Captain Suki Cannon. Contact her at Captain Suki, that's CAPTAINSUKY, at gmail.com. Mention this podcast for 10% off. Slow down. So, you're buying a boat, and you've got it narrowed down to a few specific boats you want to look at. What next? Do you just go and look? Actually, before we made appointments or looked at boats, we did a little bit more prep work. Another list. This time, we made a list of pretty much all the systems and features of the boats we were looking at and printed a copy out for each boat. We had things such as what engine hours, rigging age, anchors and rode, various pieces of gear, and so on. We also included a few things such as our initial impression of the boat on a 1 to 10 scale. You can see our complete list at theboatgalley.com. Just search on boat comparison and you can download our spreadsheet. But please, don't just follow our list. Modify it to list what's important to you. Be sure to include any items that you know can be weak points in the models you're looking at. The list really serves two purposes. As you look at boats, it's a great reminder of things to look at and check over. I don't fill in any of the information until we're at the boat and confirming it ourselves. There can be inaccuracies, sometimes really big inaccuracies in listings. Then later, after you've seen a couple of boats, it can be hard to remember which boat had what gear or what problems. The sheet is a written record that we can refer to. Finally, it's time to call the brokers and owners and set up some appointments. How you plan and schedule these will depend a lot on whether the boats are near you or if you have to travel. The biggest thing I'll say about scheduling appointments is to allow yourself some downtime in the process. That is, time to just sit, think about the boats, and not be constantly on the go. While it's fun and exciting to look at boats, it can also be both physically and mentally draining. When you go to look at a boat, wear comfortable clothing that you can crawl around in, and take copies of your list along with a clipboard and a tape measure. If it's at all hot out, take a few bottles of water, too. As you tour each boat, don't be embarrassed to ask questions about everything and write the answers down. As much as possible, test every system. If a broker is showing the boat, they may not have all the answers to your questions, but should be able to get information from the owners. It might take a day or two, but make sure to do what you can. Even if you're planning to have the boat surveyed, find out as much as you can from the previous owner. As you look at boats, you'll realize that some are strong candidates and others aren't. We find that even when we know within the first 5 minutes that we won't buy a particular boat, it can be good to spend a little time looking at it as a comparison to other boats if it's the same model as others we're looking at. In particular, you may discover some problem areas to check out on other boats. The biggest piece of advice that I can give is to really look at a boat's system. Don't be swayed by a boat that's cosmetically beautiful but has questionable systems or is missing a substantial amount of gear that you want. It's almost always cheaper and less time-intensive to pretty up a boat that's well-equipped and mechanically sound than it is to do major mechanical work on a boat that's otherwise pretty. Besides, you can do cosmetic work as you use the boat, whereas work to repair or replace major systems takes the boat out of commission. It may take a while to find the right boat, but don't expect to find the perfect boat. One day, though, you'll find one that you want to make an offer on. Next time, I'll talk more about that. Thanks for listening, and thanks again to our sponsor, Shambhala Sailing Adventures. If you like the show, please be sure to subscribe in your podcast app. Just search for the Boat Galley Podcast. And reviews are always appreciated. Slow down, slow down.